Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about sending notes from Bitwig Studio to the Syntakt and getting polyphonic support, which is really fun. So before we get started, I do want to explain a little bit about how I've got things set up. I use the Digitakt to configure a lot of my instruments. So in other words, I can sequence everything from the Digitakt because I really like to work that way. So what I'm saying is that when I hit a note, you're seeing it flash on the Digitakt because the MIDI is going there, and then the Digitakt is actually routing to different instruments. So what I'm saying is that you don't have to configure it this way, but this is just how I have it set up, is that the Digitakt can sequence the Syntakt. And likewise, if I pick another, like this is actually a VST, so this is Omnisphere running inside of Bitwig, and I can sequence notes to that as well. So just to explain that, I've got all these kind of configured. So let's go back to the Syntakt. So since that's the topic for the video, why don't we talk about that? So anyway, so I wanted to explain that. Now let's go into Bitwig. So let's talk a little bit about how you actually set up an instrument in Bitwig. So when you use Electron gear, and especially if you're using a DAW with Electron gear, highly recommend Overbridge, and that's what gives you the VSTs to control the Electron boxes and the audio, and there's a bunch of advantages. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I have that set up already, but I'm going to show you how I'm getting MIDI notes to that, and there's an important thing that I want to explain. So when you press a note and you're seeing here this yellow dot, that's showing you that you have MIDI input going through all these devices. And you notice it stops on this one, and I've called it stop MIDI. All this is a channel selector with all the channels turned off. And I did that so I didn't get MIDI sent to the VST. So this is the Syntakt VST, and which is great. But the thing is, when you send notes to the VST, it does not support auto channel. So you just have to, I just want to mention that, because if you use auto channel on your Electron gear and you know what that is, sending notes to the VST does not route to the auto channel. And that's kind of how they have it set up. That's how it's designed. That's not a bug or anything. That's just how it works. So to get auto channel, what you can do in Bitwig is then you can add what's called a hardware instrument. This is how I'm getting MIDI out to the device. If I turn this off when I'm pressing notes, it's only going to flash on the Digitakt, but it's not flashing on the Syntakt. I turn this back on, we'll get audio, and everything's working. So what this is doing is this is sending out to the Electron Syntakt as a device, and I'm sending it on channel 14, which is the auto channel, and that's already configured. So that's pretty basic, right? So far, you may have not learned anything. But what I found that I thought was cool was now I can add a instrument selector, which I hadn't really played with much. And when I found it, I thought, okay, this is really cool. I got to talk about this. So this instrument selector, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag the hardware instrument inside of it. So that's one instrument. And so everything right now works the same. If I hit a note, it's just going to go to whatever channel's active. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag or duplicate this 3 times. So I'm going to make 3 of these. And instead of sending it to the auto channel, I'm going to tell it to send to channel 9, 10, and 11. Now, those are the 3 analog tracks on the Syntakt. So let me switch over to the other screen here. So here, track 9, 10, and 11 are all going to be handled by that instrument selector. So right now, it's not going to do anything because it's just going to go to the regular track. So let me go back for a second. That's because this one's selected. This is the most important thing in the video right here. I found this mode when you have multiple instruments. So this, we're basically having multiple instruments being sent to the same device. You can choose round robin or free robin, and I'll show you the difference between those. And this is when the magic happens. So let me pick round robin, And now I have these three instruments you can see here. And when I hit a note on the keyboard, let me go back to the other thing so you can see it. You're seeing this go between tracks 9, 10, and 11. So it's alternating. So if I hit 3 notes, it's going to use all of them. Now, I would recommend that you use, there's a one mode in here called Free Robin. So this will just automatically cycle. Free Robin will preserve the notes that are held. So it only uses the voices that are available. So if you hold a note, okay, that you see that that's basically taking, let me do it again, sorry. That's taking channel 9 right now. Let me switch over to the camera. So channel 9 is kind of used. Now if I hit another note, you'll see it alternate between 10 and 11. That's because I have that set to this Free Robin. Now let me switch that to the other mode. I'm not going to switch the camera, just so I just switched it. Now watch the behavior. So now when I hold a note, that was channel 10. Now what'll happen is this will walk between, but it'll also try to use channel 10. And so sometimes that can sound funky. So depending on if you're doing chords or if you're doing arpeggios, you'll basically want to use either of those modes. There's other modes like random and other things like that, but let's actually do some music with this. So just so you can kind of see how this works. So let's make an arpeggio. I might already have one loaded up, but I'm gonna actually re-record it. So let me do that. I'm on the Digitac here, so we're gonna go into track 14. I'm gonna do step recording, which I love, and I'm gonna just play something. Just like that. All right, so that's pretty good. So let's go ahead and play that and hear what it sounds like. Okay. And let's actually bring the filters down on this guy. So I'm going to use Control-Alt to... Okay. All right. So we have this now rolling. Now, at first, this sounds pretty basic. Let me bring the kick in, just to start from the beginning. Okay, so that's got a little groove to it. Now what's cool is I have 3 tracks to play with, which is pretty fun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the middle one here. Well, one thing you can do is that's really simple is just do some panning. So I'm going to take the first track. So let me play this. And I'm going to pan him a little bit to the left. And I'm going to pan the other one, the track 11 to the right. So that right there starts to give you a little bit of a, different kind of thing, a different way that you can do arpeggios. The middle one, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring him up an octave. So that kind of gives it a different groove. So by the way, I really like, for some reason, making arpeggios and then sending them to 3 notes. I really got exposed to this on the Sequential Pro 3, because you can do paraphonic, which is the way of kind of chopping things up into 3s. And so it's kind of cool that the Syntakt has 3 analog voices. So I use that as a way to start to divide things up. And it's just kind of cool how you can kind of make a standard arpeggio sound different. So let's keep going. And let's take this guy, and I'm going to actually add some delay onto him. And let's crisp this up a little bit. It's not bright enough, so I'm going to transpose of an octave, which is something, by the way, I have set up for hotkeys. Okay, that's starting to sound kind of interesting. And let's go ahead and play with the, let's go to track 9 here. And I'm gonna get, let's pick a, yeah, I'm just picking different waveforms. Let's give it some overdrive. So there's lots of other things you can do with this, but I'm just going to start with that, and then I'm going to put a bass on here. So this is one thing I kind of wanted to show in this recording was step recording. I'm going to go to a bass. So this is using Omnisphere in my VST, or excuse me, in my DAW. So I'm just going to record a basic bass line. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the scale down to a half, and then I'm going to do leave it at 4 pages, and then I'm just going to do step record, and then I'm going to play a straight 8ths bass. Just do and the reason why I like to do that is because you can kind of, when you play it, you'll have varying amounts of velocity, so you can kind of, it doesn't sound as flat as just playing the whole thing. I know it's a straight 8ths bass, so it's going to have a certain sound to it. But anyway, here's what it sounds like. Or sounds like. Let's balance this a little bit. Bring this guy down. Okay. Let me fatten up the kick. Add some presence on the bass. Need some chorus on that bass. It's getting a little loud. All right, hold on. There we go. And let's actually add some chorus onto the Syntakt. By the way, I have these set up for, these effects are coming from Bitwig. Okay, that's starting to sound kind of cool. Let's put some, I want a snare on here. I'm going to put an electric snare that I like. All right, let's do that. Let's just put it on the usual. That cuts through pretty good. I like that though. I'm going to filter that down just a slight bit here. There we go, right in there. And then we got to put a hat. Let me filter that before I get it in here because it'll probably be a little bright. There we go. Just nice and subtle. Okay. I'm going to play some keys on that. Stop there for a second. I just had an idea. I want to try to do something. Hate doing stuff like this live when I'm recording, especially when you've done the video for a while and you're like, I'm almost done with it, and then you're like, oh, I'm going to try something. But you know what I hear in my head is this. Let's look at the arpeggio for a second, just a little bit more. I'm going to mute some stuff. Let's just play that. I like that, but I want it to be a bit more crispy, I guess. So I'm going to bring up the... So I have a filter that I can put on it. So right now I'm just changing it. So if I do low pass, it'll sound like that. Which is kind of cool, actually. So what I want to do is have that playing, and then I want to control the filter using the modulation wheel on my Digitone. So let me see if I can hook that up real quick. This could be a train wreck, but here we go. So what I'm going to do is on the Syntakt, let me switch screens so you can actually follow along as I fumble through this. So what I want to do is I have this knob right here is actually hooked up to an encoder, so I can actually change. This is doing my filtering. So I use EQ plus, and then I use a couple different types of curves to sweeten the lows and the highs. So it's a single knob, you know, that you can use to tweak it. So what I want to do is I want to map that. So I'm going to actually go through and just say I want to map this to a controller, and I'm going to play. All right, so I've got it. So this is now on the, this is now hooked up. You can't see it very well. Let me go back to the camera. You can't see my hand. My hand over here is on the wheel. I couldn't get the camera set up to see everything. But anyway, I've got it hooked up, so I'm getting that. So let's go ahead and hit play, and let me see if I can pull this off. All right, so if I bring this down. Let's go ahead and bring in some stuff. Snare's a little loud. Get this guy in. It's got a good groove to it. All right, now let's put this in there. Messed that up, sorry. Yeah, anyway. So, oh wait, let me hit stop. So anyway, that was a track I was working on, and that's why I was running into this thing that I was using, and I just thought, you know, this would be cool to make a video about how to actually send notes to the Syntakt and have it, you know, be basically polyphonic. I mean, and one other thing, let me end with this. So this video is getting long, but let me go back to the screen because I want to show you how I actually have this set up. With here, I have the hardware instrument that I just set up and showed you that. I'm going to turn that off and turn back on the one that I have configured. And the one that I have configured, I can control between 3 different modes. So let me show you that, because if you set this up, you'll be interested in this. So here I have, let me turn the encoder. You probably can't see it really well, but I have an encoder that as I'm turning it on the Digitac, it's actually changing that yellow dot is moving between 3 different selections. So how you can do that assignment is when you use the instrument selector, if you right click right here where you have this drop down, you can see I have a CC assigned to it. So you can assign a controller to switch between these. And here's why that's cool. So let's play this track where we're kind of messing with. So let me turn off the drums just so, or let's just do all right, so that's just the Syntakt. So now, right now, you can see here, let me go back to the camera. You can see right here, I have it now going to the auto channel. So I have one of my hardware instruments just going to channel 14. So whatever track it is, it's just going to go to whatever track it is. like this. Okay. So now the other mode I have is I can change it. So now it'll go to the 3 analogs. So we're getting that happening, which is what we're just messing with, right? The other mode, the last mode I have, is going through all the digital tracks. And let me see. These guys are all pretty short. I'm actually not doing this justice because when you put it in this mode, it's actually pretty sweet because you're getting, you know, it's like a full like 8-voice polyphonic synthesizer. The editing on it's a little bit different because you have to kind of edit each track. If you use Control-Alt to do editing, you just have to remember that you're editing, you know, pretty much everything. But anyway, I'm going to stop there. So the takeaways on this are, if you use Bitwig Studio and you use Electron stuff, if you send notes to the VST, you can do that. It works great. It's just, you just remember you don't get auto channel. If you want to use auto channel, then you can use a hardware instrument. And if you wrap an instrument selector around that, then you get this mode drop down that lets you pick between things like random and round robin, etc. And then you can put a bunch of multiple hardware instruments to correspond to multiple tracks. And that's basically it. So I hope that was cool and interesting for you. And have a great day. Take it easy. Bye.